Aaron Rodgers angry at sloppy Jets offense after being stepped on in practice. Aaron Rodgers was downright ticked off. The New York Jets quarterback took the snap, started to drop back, and ended up sprawled on the grass after one of his offensive linemen stepped on one of his feet. Rodgers shouted. He wasn't hurt, but he was angry. Monday was that kind of a day, the first this summer in full pads, for the Jets offense. The temperature was hot, and so was the quarterback's temper. Yeah, it was a little frustrating today, tight end Tyler Conklin said. As an offense, especially after having some really good days together, we're excited to put the pads on, and you don't want to go out there and have a bad day like that, I guess you could say. But on days like that, I think you learn a lot about yourself. And obviously, there's a lot of camp and a lot of practices to figure stuff out, so it's just part of the process. When it's a four-time NFL MVP coming off a torn Achilles tendon getting fired up on the field, though, it raises eyebrows a bit more than usual. I think that's the beauty of playing with a great like that, right? Conklin said. You have someone that's going to at all times hold everybody accountable no matter who you are or what happens. And I think that's kind of been something that, not every team has that. Conklin also provided the quote of the day when he was describing what it's like as a tight end trying to be a reliable target for Rodgers. So much of it is just trying to see the game through Aaron's eyes, Conklin said. And that's kind of impossible because he's kind of like the Oppenheimer of football, right? Foot faults and would-be sacks aren't the only issues blowing up the offense. Another source of frustration has been an increased number of high snaps during camp from center Joe Tippmann, who has launched a few balls that Rodgers has had to reach up and snare. He's got to work on it, Coach Robert Saleh said. There's clearly something going on. He'll get it down. He snapped for us the last year, so he'll be fine. Rodgers, who wasn't scheduled to speak to reporters Monday, has been working regularly with Tippmann as the two try to smooth things out. Tippmann, a second-round pick out of Wisconsin last year, has never snapped to Rodgers in a regular season game. Connor McGovern, who's now a free agent, was the center in the opener when Rodgers was injured last year. Tippmann took over from McGovern after the veteran starter was hurt in Week 7. Rodgers was complimentary of Tippmann last week, saying he thinks the young center could become the leader of the Jets' revamped defensive line. I want to empower Tippmann, Rodgers said. I think Tip has a chance to take it over. Rodgers also threw his first interception of camp in team drills when Allen Lazard had the ball go through his hands and right to Chuck Clark. He expects the same standard that he holds himself to out of everyone else, Lazard said. And today just didn't resemble that at all. I think as an offense, we were just a little bit sloppy at first. Obviously, I started off with the second play of the teen period with a tipped pass that led to an interception and some things kind of rolled downhill. Lazard has been having a solid camp after struggling mightily last season in his first year with the Jets, who signed him to a 4-year, $44 million contract. After establishing a nice rapport with Rodgers during their 5 seasons together in Green Bay, the 28-year-old wide receiver could never find a rhythm in New York's offense, especially after Rodgers was hurt. Lazard ended up with just 23 catches for 211 yards and 1 touchdown in 14 games. He was also inactive for the last 2 games of the season. It was definitely tough, Lazard said. Arguably, I think it was probably my hardest year that I've had for my career. Ultimately, I think I learned a lot about myself and just some things I can improve on and how to handle my business better. A refocused and rejuvenated Lazard could be a major help for Rodgers and the offense, who also have Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Xavier Gipson, Jason Brownlee, and rookie Malachi Corley at the wide receiver spot. There's always a lot of external pressure that you receive in this field of work that we're in, but I think the biggest thing is just focusing on proving myself right, Lazard said. I know what I'm capable of doing. I've done it before, multiple times for continuous years, and I know there's still new heights out there for me to reach. So, I come into the season expecting this to be my best year as a professional. That's just kind of my mindset.